Um, okay, we are live. Excellent. Yay. All right, I'll put it up here. So if I see any comments come in, we will address those. So, yay. Okay,
Yay.
first and foremost, Happy New Year to all of you in this group and to you, Jen. I'm super excited to share with you a kind of like there have been so many bright moments of 2020. And I don't, I've met so many people who are making waves in, as nurse practitioners and as advanced practice nurses in general. And Jen is one of those. And I actually, Jen, I'm trying to think about how I originally came upon you and whether or not we met in some other group or I saw your stuff and then I signed up for you had the tapping circle, I think, and I did it because I was having such a struggle when these kids, like when everything shut down and I was trying to run a business and grow a business and be a virtual school teacher. And I was like on the verge of fucking tears many times. And I think I did cry in that circle and you held space for that. And through that experience, I get to know you and more about your business, which is so beautiful. And it's such a wonderful offering. So welcome, Jen. Thank you for agreeing to have this conversation. I'm excited to share and some of the pearls about you, your business, your growth, and then this kind of special offer that you have coming up for the start of 2021. So welcome, and please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I would love to hear it.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Owen. I'm an integrative medicine nurse practitioner. I have a practice currently in Portland, Oregon, and I say I combine conventional medicine with natural medicine. I've been an herbalist since 1992-ish. So herbal medicine is my love. I've learned a lot of functional medicine through the years through mentorship. And then I do a technique called holistic pelvic care, where I help women heal through the pelvic floor. Obvious things like women's health issues, as well as traumas and all the stuff that we women tend to kind of hold on to. It's a technique that helps us release that so we can be who we are really meant to be in the world. So love empowering women. My practice is mostly women. It's all about that. And then because of my success, I had a practice in Indiana before this that was wildly successful. When I moved to Oregon, I was able to sell that practice. And then I moved here and people started asking me like, how have you done it? How have you done it? And I started doing some coaching, realized I was saying the same thing like over and over and over again. So I've actually started a coaching program to help people start integrative practices like I have, but really what they want to do, what their passion is, and bringing that to life in a practice where they can do that every day.
And then what state are you located in now?
In Oregon.
You're in Oregon, so you were in Indiana. And then so you started off your journey as an NP. When did you become, after being an herbalist, when did you become an NP?
So I was an herbalist and I was doing a ton of consultations, and I was realizing, well, I don't know anything about medications and how this might interact. And there weren't, I mean, in 1992, we did not have herbs in the search engines, like for interactions. Like this is all happened very quickly, that natural medicine has become so popular. It was not popular then. It was considered kind of woo and taboo. So thank you, everyone. It's great that we are much more accepting of it. It's great. And also was not making money as an herbalist. And I was like, okay, I got to do something that's going to help me learn what I need to learn and make money. And honestly, nursing was like the fastest path to get there. And so I chose that. And I already had a bachelor's degree. So I went to a community college and got associates in nursing and really loved nursing. Like, I mean, nursing is actually holistic medicine in its
Yeah.
on its own. I mean, the nursing care plans, even though we all hated them, they really are like an integrative medicine care plan. That's what it is. Like what's happening at home, who's their support system, what's their emotional state like all that stuff actually sets us up to be amazing at integrative medicine. So then I realized really, really quickly, though, I still couldn't diagnose and treat anybody. So and this was, I graduated from my RN in 2007, and then immediately started an associate's to master's program like as soon as I could. I think I had to work for a year because I didn't have a bachelor's or whatever. And then I worked in a free clinic, which was awesome. So I got to work with a nurse practitioner all the time and got to do indigent care, which is a big love of mine too. And then got my master's in 2012. I worked for 1 year in a functional medicine practice in Indianapolis. And then I was driving, like it was like a 2-hour drive in the morning and an hour and a half at night. And so I asked to work part-time at that job, and she didn't want me part-time. So she fired me and I had like no job, but it was the thing that got me to start my own practice because I had wanted it like forever. Like that was my dream, to have my own, really a women's health center kind of place. And so it was the kick I needed to move me into, I just did it. And I set it out there. The intent, it's amazing when you set the intention, like, okay, I'm doing it. I was able to get a free office space and a free collaborator, like right from the get-go, which was like amazing. This doctor loved what I was doing. And so the rest is kind of history, and it went really well.
So that's like, that's making lemonade out of lemons. Like, you get fired and you're like, wow, what now? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I try to tell people, maybe don't wait till that happens though. So you can have like a little time to plan, because I made about 1 million mistakes, because I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of, okay, I'm doing it. I've always been that way. I'm just really brave, which helps me. I don't sit and think it through all the what ifs. I'm just like, well, we'll see what happens. What's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Right. Do you think, I just listened to a podcast, interestingly, earlier today. And if you are here and you're watching, I know we have some people watching, put a comment in and let us know that you're here. It'd be wonderful. But I just listened to a podcast this morning about failure. And I had a conversation with Nicole Thomas, who is a nurse and has a tremendous business with the Nurse Power Network. Last week, we had a conversation, well, a couple weeks ago that I put up into the group last week. And she had talked about, fail fast, how she had learned a lesson kind of early on in her career, fail fast, fail hard. And I think it's, fail often, something like that. And I just listened to this podcast this morning, which said, thinking about, our view of failure and our view, right? If you look at, right, entrepreneurship, and, as much as people probably don't anticipate going into the world of nursing and then becoming entrepreneurs and having their own practices, if you're selling something, right, it's of your creation, that's entrepreneurship. And how many of us, the weight of failure in medicine and in nursing can sometimes be somewhat challenging, right? Like if I give them the wrong medicine, the wrong dose, and I really fuck something up, I can kill someone. I mean, there is that sense of ownership and onus on us to be very good at what we do, to not screw it up. And that sense of that ability, that courage and the bravery to try something, to fail, to succeed wildly, is it's a different mindset, I think. Is that who you are, or is it who you've helped yourself to become with mindset work, or is that just kind of how you're built, would you say?
I think both. I'm kind of built that way. I had to be very resilient as a child in many ways. So didn't have a lot of people. I mean, I had support, but not encouragement to go for it, go for it, go for it. So I kind of had to do that myself. So I learned to do that. And at the same time, I do mindset work all the time. And when I got my own coach, when I first started my practice, made a bunch of mistakes, got my own coach, and then everything changed, because having that person there supporting me and cheerleading me and teaching me all the mindset stuff that I needed to do. And then that would lead me into a program or a this or that, just, of course, you probably have done the same thing, like thousands of dollars on coaching, but never a wasted cent with it, because and even now I tell, people in my circles, I never not have a coach, because, my husband can't be my coach, for one. He is not made for that. Great guy. He'll do anything I need him to do. He's like, he will move furniture. We have moved so much furniture in my career as an entrepreneur. You have no idea. I need to move this table again. Can you stop by? Like, it's constant. But that's how his love language is acts of service. So it works out really well. But he is not, he is not a coach. And so once I realized that really helped. And then, yeah, I mean, my mindset practice is rock solid. I wake up at 6:30. I do quiet time, meditation, journaling. I get myself in a space so that I can be who I am, in my best form all the time. And it's not easy. They're draggy mornings. Did that answer your question? I was kind of all over the place there.
It did. I think because I think people can get easily deterred from, especially if you are someone and you're like, but I don't know how to open up a practice. I don't know how to do that. And I don't, and what if I fail? And what if I go and, it's like I just worked with a client this morning. We were working through some of these thoughts about, what if I fail? And what if I spend a bunch of money and it doesn't work? And what if, and just that level of thought work around, well, yes, it's some part of bravery. Sometimes it's just pure bravery, pure courage.
Absolutely. There's a big part of that.
First step, like momentum, inertia to momentum. Sometimes it is that first step. And I think a large part of it also is that subsequent layering of thoughts and all of the work that we do, whether that's work that you do on your own or work that you do with the support of a coach. I'm in the same camp with you. I'll probably not go, at least in building a business, and not go without a coach because I don't have to, right? Like I think I've
with you,
right? I mean, do you know what I mean? Like I look from the success of my own business and just knowing full well, about a third of my revenue has gone toward, funding a coach. And I know damn well that the success that I've had, I couldn't have got here this quickly without that support and without that layer of encouragement. So,
absolutely.
Okay. So,
one more thing about the failure thing. I think the other thing that nurses need to remember is that bravery is also part of, like what you said, it's not like a server in a restaurant. You mess up, they don't get their napkin, you mess up, someone could die like that. But that same bravery that allows you to put that medication in that IV. Remember when you very first put in an IV and how terrified you were and you had no idea how to do it? Like, that is bravery. I remember we had to do clinicals where we had to be videotaped and we had to do like a fake patient that they hired to come in. It was so horrible. And I've never been so nervous in all my life. But you opened the door and you stepped in. And that it kind of gives me goosebumps when I talk about it. It's like that same bravery is all you need to take that step to start your practice. And the way I tell people do it, I help people start a very small practice, low risk. I mean, it's hard in terms of money, because if you're not an entrepreneur, you have no idea how much things cost.
Yeah.
But I think you can start a practice with $10,000 to $15,000, which is very little money when it comes to business, like very little money at all.
Yeah.
So it's really possible, and with a small amount, to get started. Now you'll need money, I won't go on to it, but yes.
Well, and I even, we have a lot of conversation too in here about whether, the practice, and you get to choose, is it an in-person practice with overhead costs of, an exam room and tables and, autoclaves for cleaning shit, all of the things that come with that can come with an in-person physical location, a brick and mortar. And the reality is, you've got the opportunity. There's a lot that can be done, I think, with telehealth. And I mean, I don't know about you. I was doing telehealth back in 2008 with my Kaiser patients, and there was a lot that we could get done over the phone. And that was just a damn phone call, So even with a practice that is done virtually, I mean, the opportunity is tremendous. The sky is the limit in terms of what you can create. And you're right, whether it's 10 or 15 grand for a physical location, or if it's less for a virtual, sort of endeavor. I mean, I really don't even know, but you could probably, with less than, I would think, about I would say maybe about $5,000, start a virtual health telepractice. I mean, telehealth practice.
Yeah, you
Like
could.
even
Yeah.
less than that. Yeah. Anyways.
I like to touch people, so it's hard for me. I mean, and I do pelvic care, so
So
I need at least a small room. I mean, my first practice though was a room that was about, I would say 10 by 15, like 150 square feet. And in that, I had a consultation area and an exam area and a blood draw area and a supplement closet. And, it was like, it was all in one room. It was not, and I didn't have an autoclave and I didn't have, I was doing more like, kind of like glorified health coaching. Now I do bioidentical hormones and things. So I do, was writing prescriptions but I wasn't doing primary care. I was doing specialty care, and I grew my practice to like over 600 people and was bringing in like, over 250K in like 3.5 years. I mean, it's like, it's not, you can do whatever you love to do. You just have to know how to market it.
yeah,
That's the whole thing, and that's where you need, I've taken a ton of marketing. I've spent more on marketing than I have anything else, because that's what we don't know,
yeah,
as nurse practitioners in
yeah.
general.
No, it's a huge part of the business. I think that I underestimated just,
Yeah.
out of the gate, on how much time spent in marketing, for Christ's sakes. Yeah. Um, okay. So you have the mindset, you have your daily practice, it sounds like, and you had what would we call it? Like a sign from the universe, so to speak, with getting fired from your job. And it sounds like those were all factors in terms of your, this next step, because the reality is you didn't have to start a practice, right? You could have at that point found another job.
Sure.
So
Sure. I mean,
what,
I'm very specialized in what I do, so it's not easy. Like when we moved to Oregon, it's kind of another sign from the universe. We were thinking of moving here. My husband had lived here, and then I lost my collaborator in my office in one phone call. He was like going to go work for a hospital system and couldn't collaborate with me, and was going to close where I was with my office. I lost it all in one phone call. And it was the exact same time we had been, when my son was graduating from high school, when we were thinking of moving and we were not going to. And so it was like, oh, move and go out to Portland and do it. And we were like, okay, we're just going to do it again. Just do it. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? We'll move back. Right.
oh, right.
Here there's full practice authority. So that made it easier.
Yeah.
And so when I moved here, I thought I would just get a job. I really did. I was like, oh, just, it'll be easier. There's so much natural medicine. People are more open-minded out here. No, I'm very specialized. I mean, I am like, there's no one like me. I haven't found anyone like me still. So in a way, that's great for my
Perfect.
marketing. So I did end up being like, within a few months, I was like, okay, I have to start my practice here. And, it was very interesting starting where I knew no one. Compared to Indiana, I knew a lot of people. So it made it easy. So
Yeah,
I
right.
really know what it's like to start when you know people and when you know no one, and how to do it both ways, blood, sweat, and
Right.
tears.
And what out of in addition to kind of marketing and just the courage piece, what, and you, I mean, even moving, to Portland had the benefit of you had already, right? You had created a practice, you had grown, you built the practice, grew the practice, sold the practice, which I think is like like the holy grail of, right? Like seeing into the cycle of completion, so to speak. But um, what kind of pearls can you share with other, advanced practice nurses in this group who are kind of just like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. Like what are other kind of pearls that you learned along your journey of now, having a couple of practices and growing them, building them, selling them?
I think it's first tapping into what you love to do. Because I also see people starting practices, and I've had like 120 phone calls with nurse practitioners thinking about going out on their own. I just, I still do some free calls, but I used to do tons of them. And most people are not willing to believe that what they love to do is something people will pay for. So like some people love to work with diabetes. Well, then build your practice around that. There's plenty of people you can help. Some people don't ever want to do a pap smear again in their lives. Well, don't. It's like, and I see people doing a lot of spa type things, which they can, because they think that that's a moneymaker. But it's like, is that what you love? Because if you're not doing what you love, it's not going to be sustainable for you. So number one, figure out what you love And then I can help anyone turn something into a business, but it's like, you got to know what you want, like, or at least a rough start of what you love to do, and not be afraid to like really admit what you love to do. And then a vision plan. Like, because I think when we start to think like, where am I going to be in 10 years? And you are in a job you don't like, and you are like, I don't want to be in this job in 10 years. And maybe you're not at retirement age in 10 years. So, okay. And then work backward. Well, okay, well, what do I want to be in 5 years and 3 years and 1 year? And then like, because if you want to be somewhere different in a year, it's time to get moving. It's time to start thinking about what are your steps that you're going to take. And you can break it down more easily by kind of going from the bigger picture, or even retirement. What's your retirement look like? What are you proud of yourself for accomplishing in your lifetime? What are people saying about you at your funeral? That's what I tell people also. Like, it's kind of grim, but it's like, what do you want them to say? Like, oh, she had a great job at the hospital. She was great. Like, or do you want to say like, she built an empire, which is what I'm always working on, like, what, she built this and she transformed lives, and she, like, that's more what I want people to be saying about me. But then when you know that, you can work it backward.
Yeah. Yes. Creating that vision and is so important in terms of just then breaking it down into those smart, and I can't stand SMART goals. Like, it makes me like feel so corporate and like my old, like get your SMART goals out and make sure they're measurable, and,
There's something to them though that I'm resistant to as well, but they do work, darn it.
I know. And I think, and yes, exactly. And I think it's when if I have the vision and I can say, well, in 5 years, I desire to have, 200 grand set aside for the beach condo that I'll buy, that I invite into my existence. Then I can say, okay, well, that means then at my current level of income or revenue, that would mean adding on an additional 40,000 a year, and or 50,000 a year, whatever it is. And how can I, what are the ways in which I get to create that additional 50,000 in revenue in year 1, year 2, to
doing what I love, doing what I love with people who want to work with me.
Doing what I love to boot with people who want to work with me, and people who like are ready for an opportunity for transformation, or for healing, or whatever you can provide. Yeah. Okay.
The masculine and the feminine. It's the feminine vision, creation, knowing what you really want, with the masculine like action, like, here's what I'm going to do. Like, so but you kind of have to have that like creative juice and that like dry, because we women don't just operate on that. We need like the juicy feeling stuff with it. So once you have that, then the masculine part's easy, because we're good at that. We are good at setting goals and achieving them, because we all at least have a master's degree.
Right. And targets. Yes. Yes. And I think that's the familiar. I wonder sometimes if we, based on our education, we tend to get much more into that masculine area of like KPIs and, and HEDIS scores or HEDIS measures, and, and just making sure that everything is right in line, 30 patients a day, 20 who are like, and we get into that, and just taking that step back and saying, well, what do I want to feel? Like, what do I want? How do I want to spend my time? How do I want to spend my like energy? What do I want to create? Mm-hmm. And just getting into that kind of very feeling, woo, which is so not medicine.
No. Well, but it can be. Mine is, because we're like tapping, and then we're doing, then, I mean, I combine all the stuff. I always say I combine the science and the woo, because there's woo in every appointment, but there's also science. Like, we're looking at your labs, and then we're talking about your life, and then we might do some tapping or some pelvic care. I mean, we're doing all kinds of things, whatever's needed. So it can work together.
Yeah. And you get to choose. That's the beauty of it too, right? Like, you get to choose what kind of offering you put together for people, right? Like, you didn't have it in your 7-minute office visit for an annual exam for a person. yeah, you get to create a 30-minute or a 40-minute appointment slot for your patient in your private practice where you incorporate your healing modalities and tools and your woo and your science. I mean, that's the beauty. You get to choose, how you make it. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about you have your practice and then you have your coaching and you have
Mhm.
this program coming up. Tell us a little bit about this because I know some people are going to watch this and be like, I think I need Jen Owen in my life.
People
So
generally know too. It's kind of cool. I really attract people who like, they just kind of, if you have the knowing, that's a good sign, because that's my people are like, I just knew when I saw you, I just knew. And like that people are just know that about working with me. And so if it's a good sign. So my program is called 90-day practice, and it's how to create an integrated practice in 90 days. And you don't have to have it done in 90 days, but it's 90 days of material. And then what I'm doing, and I've never done before, is I'm starting normally it's a group program where you join anytime, you come into the group, we do weekly Q&As on Zoom, and people are on all different places, which actually works fine, because you're learning from the people. It's like reminders of things that maybe you forgot to do, and then um, learning from people who are ahead of you in the process. But this time I'm starting a group together. So January 3rd, we're going to start at the same time. I've never done that before, and I'm really excited about it. And then I've been offering a lower price on the program since COVID started, as just like I know it's harder to think about starting now. It's like an incentive. And then that price is going to end on the end of the year. So December 31st, I'm taking it back up to the price it always is. And so I did a webinar yesterday. So if people want to know more about me, I'm happy to give the link to the webinar, and that's just available, the webinar for today and tomorrow. And then you'd have one more day to decide about the program. But it's really exciting. I pour my heart into my people, and it's everything you need to know to start an integrated practice. So it's really for people who want like holistic, I call it patient-based care. So like heart-based medicine, and then using different, and I teach people how to use specialty testing and some of the main supplements that they'd want to use. So it's very basic on that part, but we go through like how to pick your location, and then how to do all your marketing, and how to connect with your clients, and it's like everything I could ever think of, I poured into this program, and
okay.
it's coming up. It's very exciting.
And then and out of curiosity, your offering to people is you will lead them, you will help them in 90 days
Yeah.
figure shit out enough to like hang a shingle
Mhm.
and see a patient in their own practice.
Yep. And people have definitely done it. I would say most people, they're close at the 90-day point. And then they're like, and COVID has slowed down paperwork a lot, like getting your business, your entity established with Secretary of State, like that kind of stuff is taking longer. But you have the nuts and bolts, and then you get the material forever. So like if you missed a module, it's not like I just, sorry, bye. Like, and I don't leave my people behind. We usually end up coaching together after and I keep it like almost no money to keep coaching with me. And then we meet every single week. So they're coming on, there's accountability. It's just really about accountability, like keeping you on track. And then if you stay with it, I've definitely had people who who have started in 90 days, and they see their first patient. So it's possible. And I think that can be really intimidating for some people too. Like, I'm not ready in 90 days, but you don't have to be. You could start in 6 months, but you would have all the tools you need to be moving through it. And so there's not like a pressure, there's not an A or a B, there's no pass fail about this. It's, you can move. If it feels overwhelming, we slow you down and we
Yeah.
break it down, but I'm there for you. That's the big thing, is like having that person. And I think the big thing too is like when you're starting a practice, you don't know what you don't know. And I
Oh,
know you don't, because I didn't.
me neither. I didn't either. I had no idea it's like marketing. If somebody told me I was going to spend 50% of my day when I was in the early stages of building my business, 50% of my day was on marketing, I'd have been like, no, that's not how it happens. Oh yeah, that's how it happens. 50%.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes in waves. Finally I have a social media person who handles all my clinic, and it's like a dreamy moment in my life. Like, cause I've been doing it myself forever and, gotten really good at it, but it's
Yeah.
beautiful. torch. It's a great place.
All right. So if people want to find you, how can they find you?
Sure. So the website for the coaching is called integrativenpcoach.com. And I can post a couple links under if that's okay with you, Anne. And then if you want to see the webinar is my top 5 things you need to know before you start, excuse me, before you start an integrated practice. So it's like all my pearls of wisdom for anybody who, just wants that information is welcome to see that. And then the practice page is on the website under start a practice.
All right. I've got you here. Flourish
would be my clinic. So that, the flourishcenter.co if you just want to see what I do. And then the integrativenpcoach.com. Working on SEO, obviously, on that one. I haven't had that website. I didn't have a website forever. And so I just made this website. So it's really simple and basic, but it's I always start before I'm ready. So I just threw it up there.
You don't need a lot. I mean, that's one thing I've learned in the past year. I mean, a lot of this shit's fluff, that we really don't, that really doesn't make a difference in terms of whether or not we're successful. I mean, SEO is super nice to have and it's really good. And the reality is if you're not out there marketing yourself and if you are not, visible to your people, presenting them with opportunities, to work with you, it's very challenging it's more challenging to generate the client base. So okay, I put your website, integrativnp.com, in the comments, and then also tagged Flourish, although, and then I will tag you in the post. So, all right, so recap. So if we have any advanced practice nurses who are like, I really want to understand more about this because you're telling me in 90 days I could actually start a practice. They want to know more. They can go to find you at integrativnp.com.
integrativenpcoach.com.
Hold on. I'm going to edit that. integrativenpcoach.com.
And then I also have a free Facebook group too.
Okay.
So
are you an APRN considering starting your own integrative practice? Excellent.
There it is.
And what is your Facebook group?
What is it?
Remember?
It's, it has a long name. Hold on. They make them very long nowadays. So you have to put groups in there. So it's facebook.com/group/start your own integrative medicine practice. So that's a great way to practice. Integrative medicine practice.com. It's just Facebook. So it's facebook.com/groups/start your own integrative medicine practice.
Okay. Let's see if I typed that correctly.
It will probably pop up if you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Purple flowers.
We'll go back and we'll put it in. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Anne.
Oh, good. Yes. Thank you for coming on. This has been you have undoubtedly lit a fire under somebody's, what, to start thinking about this for sure. And this is, I think, invaluable, not only because, just you in terms of sharing your time, but your expertise in terms of your experience of doing this many times over, helping many clients, many other advanced practice nurses to get going on this as a dream that's probably been brewing for some time. And you said it may be a little bit harder to think about this with COVID. I hope that this has awakened the like sleeping giant, so to speak, in more advanced practice nurses who are like, hell with this. Like I will be damned if I'll show up to a place that won't provide me with PPE in order to do my job right, to do it safely. And so I love this as an option. And I know that this comes at a great time for so many people. So thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. Thank you for your experience. And I wish you the best with this next launch of NPs who are ready to trailblaze and start making shit happen for themselves.
Yeah, and let's make a difference in medicine. Like that's what we really want, right? We don't like what we're seeing, so let's change it. That's my
yes, and that's how it starts. It's the beautiful part about it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jen. Good to see you. And if you have any questions for either me or for Jen, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Jen, is it okay if people send you a DM too?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I send Jen DMs sometimes, so I think it's an easy way to get in touch with people.
Yeah. Although I will be
yeah.
doing less Facebook in the new year. Like I'm gonna have to like, whoo, reel it in. It's been a little bit of a time suck at times. I think it's like our friendship, our community. So
Yes, completely
if I don't
agree.
answer right away, I will.
Yes. All right. Very good. Okay. Thanks, Jen. So nice to
Thanks,
have you
Dan.
today. Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Yeah. Good to see you.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.